Niels Abel's lifestyles used to be dominated by using poverty, and we start by means of placing this in context by means of searching quickly at the political troubles which led to monetary troubles in Norway. At the quit of the 18th century, Norway used to be section of Denmark, and the Danish tried to continue to be impartial via the Napoleonic Wars. However, a neutrality treaty in 1794 was once viewed an aggressive act through Britain, and, in 1801, the British fleet destroyed most of the Danish fleet in a fighting in the harbour at Copenhagen. Despite this, Denmark-Norway prevented the fighting till 1807, when Britain feared that the Danish fleet may be used with the aid of the French to invade. Using the philosophy that assault is the excellent shape of defense, the English attacked and captured the complete Danish fleet. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Like it. In October 1807, Denmark then joined the alliance towards Britain. The continental powers blockaded Britain, and as a counter to this, Britain blockaded Norway. The twin blockade used to be a disaster to Norway, stopping their trees exports, which had been mostly to Britain, and stopping their grain imports from Denmark. An financial disaster in Norway observed, with the humans struggling starvation and intense poverty. In 1813, Sweden attacked Denmark from the south, and, at the Treaty of Kiel in January 1814, Denmark passed over Norway to Sweden. And triad independence by using Norway a few months later led to Sweden attacking Norway in July 1814. Sweden received manage of Norway, placing up a whole interior self-government for Norway with the authorities in Christiania, which is known as Oslo today. In this challenging time, Abel was once developing up in Gjersted in southeast Norway. Abel's father, Soren Georg Abel, had a diploma in theology and philology, and his father, Niels Abel's grandfather, used to be a Protestant minister at Gjersted close to Risør. Soren Abel was once a Norwegian nationalist who used to be energetic politically in the motion to make Norway independent. Soren Abel married Anne Marie Simonsen, the daughter of a service provider and ship owner, and was once appointed as minister at Finnøy. Niels Abel, the second of 7 children, used to be 12 months historical when his grandfather died, and his father used to be appointed to prevail him as the minister at Gjersted. It was once in that city that Abel used to be added up, taught via his father in the vicarage till he reached 13 years of age. However, these have been the 13 years of monetary disaster for Norway described above, and Abel's mother and father would have now not been capable to feed their household very well. The issues have been now not absolutely political both for 14. Abel's father was once in all likelihood a drunkard, and his mom was once accused of having lax morals. Abel's father was, however, necessary in the politics of Norway, and, after Sweden received manipulative Norway in 1814, he was once worried in writing a new charter for Norway as a member of the Storting, the Norwegian legislative body. In 1815, Abel and his older brother had been dispatched to the cathedral school in Christiania. The founding of the University of Christiania had taken away the accurate instructors from the cathedral school to body of workers the university when it opened for educating in 1813. What had been a correct college used to be in a horrific country when Abel arrived. Uninspired with the aid of the terrible school, he proved as a substitute regular scholar with some genius for arithmetic and physics. When a new arithmetic trainer Bernt Holmboe joined the college in 1817, matters modified markedly for Abel. The preceding arithmetic instructor had been brushed aside for punishing a boy so severely that he had died. Abel commenced to find out about college stage arithmetic texts, and, inside a year of Holmboe's arrival, Abel used to be analyzing the works of Euler, Newton, Lalande and D'Alembert. Holmboe used to be satisfied that Abel had gorgeous brain, and motivated him, notably taking him on to find out about the works of Lagrange and Laplace. However, in 1820 tragedy struck Abel's household when his father died. Abel's father had ended his political profession in shame by way of making false prices in opposition to his colleagues in the Storting after he was once elected to the physique once more in 1818. His habits of ingesting too extra additionally contributed to his dismissal, and the household used to be consequently in the deepest hassle when he died. There used to be now no cash to permit Abel to entire his college education, nor cash to enable him to find out about at college, and, in addition, Abel had the accountability of assisting his mom and family. Holmboe used to be in a position to assist Abel reap a scholarship to continue to be at faculty, and Abel was once capable to enter the University of Christiania in 1821, 10 years after the university used to be founded. Holmboe had raised cash from his colleagues to allow Abel to learn about at the college, and he graduated in 1822. While in his remaining year at school, however, Abel had begun working on the answer of quintic equations by means of radicals. He believed that he had solved the quintic in 1821 and submitted a paper to the Danish mathematician Ferdinand Degen for guide by way of the Royal Society of Copenhagen. Degen requested Abel to supply a numerical instance of his approach, and, whilst making an attempt to supply an example, Abel located the mistake in his paper. Degen had given Abel some necessary recommendation that was once to set him working on an vicinity of arithmetic, C2, whose improvement would have the biggest penalties for evaluation in mechanics. I refer to elliptic integrals. A serious investigator with appropriate skills for lookup of this type would, by means of no ability, be restrained to the many lovely homes of these most incredible functions, however, should find out a Strait of Magellan main into broad expanses of a top-notch analytic ocean. At the University of Christiania, Abel located a supporter in the professor of astronomy Christopher Hanstein, who supplied each monetary guide and encouragement. Hanstein's spouse commenced to care for Abel as if he used to be her personal son. In 1823 Abel posted papers on purposeful equations and integrals in a new scientific journal commenced up by means of Hanstein. In Abel's one-third paper, Solutions of Some Issues with the Aid of Capability of Exact Integrals, he gave the first answer of an imperative equation. Abel was once given a small supply to go to Degen and different mathematicians in Copenhagen. While there he met Christine Kemp, who quickly afterwards grew to be his fiancée. Returning to Christiania, Abel tried to get the University of Christiania to supply him a large furnish to allow him to go to the pinnacle mathematicians in Germany and France. He did now not talk French or German, so, partly to store money, he was once given dollars to stay in Christiania for 2 years to supply him the danger to grow to be fluent in these languages earlier than traveling. Abel started out working once more on quintic equations and, in 1824, he proved the impossibility of fixing the ordinary equation of the fifth diploma in radicals. He posted the work in French and at his very own fee, considering the fact that he desired an astonishing piece of work to take with him when he was once on his travels. As Aub writes in 6, he selected a pamphlet as the quickest way to get it into print, and in order to keep on the printing costs, he decreased the proof to match on 1/2 a folio sheet, 6 pages. By this time Abel appears to have regarded something of Ruffini's work, for he had studied Cauchy's work of 1815 whilst he was once an undergraduate, and in this paper there is a reference to Ruffini's work. Abel's 1824 paper starts. 6 geometers have occupied themselves a remarkable deal with the widespread answer of algebraic equations, and a number of amongst them have sought to show the impossibility. But, if I am no longer mistaken, they have now not succeeded up to the present. Abel dispatched this pamphlet to numerous mathematicians, which include Gauss, whom he supposed to go to in Göttingen whilst on his travels. In August 1825, Abel was once given a scholarship from the Norwegian authorities to enable him to journey overseas, and, after taking a month to settle his affairs, he set out for the continent with 4 friends, first journeying mathematicians in Norway and Denmark. On achieving Copenhagen, Abel discovered that Degen had died, and he modified his idea about taking Hanstein's recommendation to go without delay to Paris, preferring no longer to tour by myself and remain with his buddies who have been going to Berlin. As he wrote in a later letter, 7. Now I am so constituted that I can't undergo solitude alone. I am depressed, I get cantankerous, and I have little inclination to work. In Copenhagen, Abel was once given a letter of introduction to Krell by way of one of the mathematicians there. Abel met Krell in Berlin, and the two grew to be association friends. This proved the most beneficial phase of Abel's total trip, in particular as Krell used to be about to commence publishing a journal committed to mathematical research. Abel used to be prompted by way of Krell to write a clearer model of his work on the insolubility of the quintic, and this resulted in Recherches sur les fonctions elliptiques t, which was once posted in 1827 in the first quantity of Krell's journal, alongside with 6 different papers through Abel. While in Berlin, Abel learnt that the role of professor of arithmetic at the University of Kristiania, the solely college in Norway, had been given to Holmboe. With no possibilities of a college publish in Norway, Abel commenced to fear about his future. Krell's journal endured to be a supply for Abel's papers, and Abel started out to work to set up mathematical evaluation on a rigorous basis. He wrote to Holmboe from Berlin, too. My eyes have been opened in the most shocking manner. If you dismiss the very easiest cases, there is in all of arithmetic no longer a single endless sequence whose sum had been fastidiously determined. In different words, the most necessary components of arithmetics. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Like it. Stand besides foundation. It is proper that most of it is valid. However, that is very surprising. I warfare to discover a cause for it, and tremendously fascinating problem. It had been Abel's intention to tour with Krell to Paris and to go to Gauss in Göttingen. On the way, however, information obtained again to Abel that Gauss was once no longer thrilled to get hold of his work on the insolubility of the quintic, so Abel determined that he would be higher now not to go to Göttingen. It is unsure why Gauss took this mindset toward Abel's work, seeing that he simply by no means study it. The paper was once located unopened after Gauss's death. Abel offers 2 viable motives. 6. The first opportunity is that Gauss had proved the end result himself and was once inclined to let Abel take the credit. The different rationalization is that he did now not connect very a whole lot significance to solvability with the aid of radicals. The 2D of these explanations does appear the greater likely, particularly because Gauss had written in his thesis of 1801 that the algebraic answer of an equation used to be no higher than devising an image for the root of the equation and then pronouncing that the equation had a root equal to the symbol. Krell was once detained in Berlin and should no longer tour with Abel to Paris. Abel consequently did no longer go immediately to Paris, however selected to journey once more with his Norwegian buddies to northern Italy before crossing the Alps to France. In Paris, Abel was once dissatisfied to discover there was once little activity in his work. He wrote, "Return to Holmbo, 7. The French are a good deal greater reserved with strangers than the Germans. It is extraordinarily challenging to attain their intimacy, and I do no longer dare to urge my pretensions as a ways as that." Subsequently, each and every amateur had an excellent deal of concern getting seen here. I have simply completed an sizable treatise on a sure category of transcendental features to existing it to the Institute, which will be completed subsequent Monday. I confirmed it to Mr. Cauchy, however he scarcely deigned to look at it. The contents and significance of this treatise via Abel is described in 2. It dealt with the sum of integrals of a given algebraic function. Abel's theorem states that any such sum can be expressed as a constant quantity p of these integrals, with integration arguments that are algebraic features of the authentic arguments. The minimal quantity p is the genus of the algebraic function, and this is the first incidence of this critical quantity. Abel's theorem is a massive generalization of Euler's relation for elliptic integrals. 2 referees, Cauchy and Legendre, have been appointed to referee the paper, and Abel remained in Paris for a few months. 14. Emaciated, gloomy, weary and continuously worried. He ought to solely come up with the money for to devour one meal a day. He posted some articles, more often than not on the consequences he had already written for Krell's journal. Then, with no cash left and his fitness in a very bad state, he again to Berlin at the quit of 1826. In Berlin, Abel borrowed some cash and persevered working on elliptic functions. He wrote a paper in which, too, he radically changed the idea of elliptic integrals to the concept of elliptic features with the aid of the usage of their inverse features. Krell tried to persuade Abel to continue to be in Berlin till he should locate an tutorial published for him, and he even supplied Abel the editorship of Krell's journal. However, Abel desired to get domestic, and by using this time he was once closely in debt. He reached Christiania in May 1827 and used to be awarded a small quantity of cash with the aid of the college, even though they made positive they had the proper to deduct a corresponding quantity from any future earnings he earned. To make a little extra cash, Abel tutored schoolchildren, and his fiancée used to be employed as a governess to buddies of Abel's household in Frohlen. Hanstein obtained a principal supply to inspect the Earth's magnetic area in Siberia, and alternative was once wanted to educate for him at the university and additionally at the military academy. Abel used to be appointed to this publish, which accelerated his role a little. In 1828, Abel was once proven a paper by using Jacobi on transformations of elliptic integrals. Abel shortly confirmed that Jacobi's outcomes had been penalties of his very own, and brought a notice to this impact to the second section of his fundamental work on elliptic functions. He had been working once more on the algebraic answer of equations, with the intention of fixing the hassle of which equations had been soluble by way of radicals, the trouble which Galois solved a few years later. He put this to one aspect to compete with Jacobi in the principle of elliptic functions, shortly writing various papers on the topic. Legendre noticed the new thoughts in the papers which Abel and Jacobi had been writing, and stated, too, through these works you too will be positioned in the classification of the principal analysts of our times. Abel persisted to pour out excessive nice mathematics as his fitness endured to deteriorate. He spent the summer season holiday of 1828 with his fiancée in Frohlen. The masterpiece which he had submitted to the Paris Academy appeared to have been misplaced, and so he wrote the predominant end result down once more. 3. The paper used to be solely 2 short pages, however of all his many works, possibly the most poignant. He known as it solely in quat, a theorem in quat. It had no introduction, contained no superfluous remarks, no applications. It used to be a monument, resplendent in its easy traces, the fundamental theorem from his Paris memoir, formulated in few words. Abel traveled by means of sled to go to his fiancée once more in Froland for Christmas. 1828. He grew to become significantly sick on the sled ride, and regardless of an enchantment which allowed them to revel in Christmas, he quickly grew to be very significantly sick again. Krell used to be informed, and he redoubled his efforts to achieve an appointment for Abel in Berlin. He succeeded and wrote to Abel on the 8 April 1829 to inform him the right news. It used to be too late, Abel had already died. Or, 3, describes his final few days, the weak point and cough expanded, and he should stay out of mattress solely the few minutes whilst it used to be being made. Occasionally he would strive to work on his mathematics, however he should no longer write. Sometimes he lived in the past, speak me about his poverty and about Fru Hanstein's goodness. Always. He was once variety and patient. He continued his worst discomfort at some stage in the night time of April 5th. Towards morning he grew to become extra quiet, and in the forenoon, at 11 o'clock, he expired his final sigh. After Abel's loss of life, his Paris memoir was once observed by way of Cauchy in 1830 after tons searching. It was once printed in 1841, however, as a substitute. Remarkably vanished once more, and used to be now not located till 1952, when it became up in Florence. Also after Abel's dying, unpublished work on the algebraic answer of equations used to be found. In truth, in a letter Abel had written to Krell on the 18th of October 1828, he gave the theorem 13. If each 3 roots of an irreducible equation of high diploma are associated to one every other in such a way that one of them may additionally be expressed rationally in phrases of the different 2, then the equation is soluble in radicals. This end result is actually same to 1, given by means of Galois in his well-known memoir of 1830. In this identical 12 months 1830, the Paris Academy awarded Abel and Jacobi the Grand Prix for their exceptional work. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Like it.